Baby yellow potatoes. They have a nutty, almost sweet flavor, buttery smooth texture to them. No doubt they are a perfect potato for homemade potato buns. Yes.
Cool, so the first thing we're going to do is roast off the potatoes. I'm not going to peel them because I'm using a food mill to process them. Give them a dressing of oil, and then give them a pinch of salt. When we go to process the potatoes, they will become nice and seasoned. Now chuck them into an oven preheated 400 degrees Fahrenheit and let them roast for about 45 minutes to an hour. They are to be very, very soft by the time they're done. Next step I like to do when the potatoes are still hot, right? But you could also let them cool, just enough so that you could handle them, okay? Now, if you're using a food mill to process them like I am, then cut the potatoes in half and then run them through the food mill. The reason I like the food mill is because it gives the potatoes a nice, beautiful, soft texture to them, and then the peels remain behind. Basically, it's super awesome, man. However, if you're using a potato masher to mash them, then you would definitely want to peel the potatoes. Now we just let the potatoes cool completely. Now, while those potatoes are cooling, let's go over the rest of the ingredients that you're going to need. To start, we're going to weigh out the ingredients. We have 4 grams of yeast, which equals about 1 1/4 teaspoons. Now we get some water, which is going to be 3/4 cup or 178 grams. Now we have some granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon or 14 grams. Now with the water, you want to warm it up to about 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Drop the yeast into the water and the sugar. Give it a good mix to dissolve the yeast in the sugar, and you want to let this sit for about 10 minutes on the countertop until it's nice and foamy on top. Now, I prefer this method because I find that the dough rises a little bit quicker rather than just putting the yeast in with the flour, okay? While that's doing this thing, weigh out the salt, which is half a teaspoon or 2 grams. Now we have some unsalted butter, 4 tablespoons or 56 grams. And it needs to be soft. Next, you want to weigh out the potatoes. We have 225 grams, which equals about 3/4 to 1 cup. Now we have some heavy cream, which is going to add some great fat content to the buns, and 2 whole eggs, which also adds a little bit of fat content and it makes the buns nice and rich. Also, since I like these spicy, we're going to do 2 medium jalapenos. You could do serrano peppers, you could do habaneros, whatever. Lastly, we have unbeaten flour, 2.5 cups or 500 to 520 grams. Place the potatoes once they're cooled into the mixer bowl, along with the softened butter and the heavy cream. And for me, I like to give a few cranks of my pepper mill right onto the potatoes. Attach the dough hook and then run your mixer until all the ingredients are fully incorporated. Drop in the eggs. By now, this yeasty water should be nice and foamy. With the mixer running, pour in the yeast water mixture. Next, you want to add in the flour little bits at a time, adding more once the previous amount is fully incorporated. Run the mixer on high and knead the dough for 7 to 8 minutes. Potato buns could be kind of tricky to get the hydration levels right depending on what potatoes you're using. What you're looking for is for the dough to pull away from the sides of the bowl cleanly. If it's not, then go ahead and add a tablespoon of flour at a time until it does. Next, we're going to fold in the cut up jalapenos to the dough, so dust your worktop with some flour. This is a high hydration dough and it can be quite sticky, so to combat that, I like to dress my hands with a little bit of oil and then just knead the dough for about 30 more seconds or so. Flatten the dough out and add in the cut up jalapenos. Now for the fun part, you fold in the jalapenos to the dough. After you got the jalapenos all folded in, then you knead the dough a little bit longer to fully incorporate the pieces of jalapeno evenly throughout the dough, okay? I'm rolling the dough into a ball and then I'm twisting it, pinching the seam on the bottom of the dough. Now you want to oil the bottom of a mixing bowl with a little bit of oil. This is so that the dough doesn't stick to the bowl and drop in the dough. This is where you add the salt and knead it in to fully incorporate. Now we want to let this proof for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. I find it in a warm spot in my kitchen, like on top of the refrigerator, on the countertop, whatever. Cover it and let it proof. It's going to double in size when ready. After that, you want to deflate the dough by knocking it down and placing the dough onto a lightly floured countertop. Now we want to portion the dough out into little individual pieces. 75 to 80 grams I've found to be the sweet spot for a perfectly sized potato bun. The cool thing about this is that the more practice you get, the more precise you can get with the weight measurements. Now we want to form the dough balls. I stretch the dough slightly flat and then fold it in on each of the 4 corners of the dough basically. Flip the dough ball over seam side down and roll it into a ball. You want to tighten up the bottom of the dough ball basically to pinch that seam closed and roll it into a perfectly sized little round ball like this. As you get the dough balls rolled out, you want to place them onto a lightly floured sheet pan. These are going to proof at room temperature for about an hour and a half to 2 hours until they're doubled in size, and make sure to cover them with some plastic wrap. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for the dough balls to be basically doubled in size. Now, I like to brush the tops with a little bit of melted butter. You could do an egg wash mixture if you prefer to do that. Now you want to bake the buns off 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 15 minutes. Be very, very careful that you do not burn the bottom of these buns, as it happens very easily. Buns should feel light, they should feel hollow, and they should smell freaking awesome.
It makes sense to me that being that we have these awesome jalapeno buns that we put together a fat steakhouse burger. Okay, I'm gonna put together a quick sauce, like a spicy ketchup kind of thing. So ketchup, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of homemade hot sauce that I have, and then that's basically gonna be the sauce like that. Cheese, tomato, boom, easy. Some hobby sauce. This is my smoked habanero hot sauce. If you want to see how I made this, video will be basically linked right there, so give that a watch. This is a killer smoky orange goddess hot sauce that I put together. Smoked orange habaneros, got some carrots, got some orange juice in there. Freaking banging, dude. So check that out.
This is a very loose recipe, so I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of ketchup, a splash of white wine vinegar, a splash of soy sauce, and about a tablespoon worth of some hot sauce. You could add less or you could add more, depending on your spice tolerance.
Sauces don't have to be complicated to be good, man. It's just ketchup, soy sauce, hot sauce, vinegar, pepper. That's it. That's good. Use a little bit more vinegar though. Could probably use a little bit more of this hot sauce though. It's not quite spicy enough. A little bit. Okay. Perfect. If you're making this at home, you could definitely go with like the fatter, thicker slices of the bacon. A lot of times you see those with like steakhouse burgers. Me personally, I like the thin, just crispy, snappy bacon pieces like that. That's just where it's at for me, man. Really, this recipe is supposed to be something that like anybody could just execute at home, right? A lot of people like to ground their own beef. Absolutely phenomenal way to do this, but if you're just an average, like just home cook, just wanted to bang out a fat steakhouse burger, dude, just buying a good ground beef is definitely a very acceptable way to go about this, guys. So not everybody has a meat grinder at home, so get yourself a good quality ground beef. 80/20 is where it's at right there.
Now, for the burger patties, I'm using a 4-inch ring mold to roughly form the shape of the burger patty. I don't like it being that tall, so I'm going to squish it down ever so slightly and season both sides with salt and pepper. Sear these off in a cast iron skillet, and I'm using some bacon fat as the fat, okay? Ripping hot cast iron pan, melt the fat in, and drop in the burgers. These are going to cook about 2 to 3 minutes per side, although you might need to flip these over, a couple times because how thick they are, yeah. Once I flip the burger over on the second side and it's cooked almost all the way through, I add the cheese and then cover the pan with the lid to melt the cheese, right? Man, that looks awesome. Now, the assembly. Sauce both sides of the bun. You can toast them if you want. And place on the burger patty. I like to keep my burgers pretty simple, so I have a couple slices of tomato that have been seasoned with salt and pepper on both sides. Some of that thin, crispy bacon, and then that's basically it. You could add lettuce, you could add pickle if you want. That is such a fat burger. Fat steakhouse burger is the name of the game. Look at that. Gorgeous, man. By goodness.